guys, it's Mary, Queen MLV. Talk to me Tuesday, March 5th, 2019. I was really busy this week and have very little to show for it, and I don't know, I don't stress about these things, but when I look at how much I've done since the first of the year, I'm kind of proud of it. But then I have weeks like this where I work very hard, and by Tuesday, I have 4 blocks I've made all week. That doesn't mean for individual blocks. It means, yeah, it does actually. Just 4 blocks. These are not blocks that I'm making 5 of or anything like that. But I have made progress. I made 2 more foxes, which brings me up to 5. I made 16 for my daughter's quilt and 20 for mine. So that's 2 of each. So that's actually 4 blocks right there, and then there are 2 more. So 6 for the week. That makes me feel a little better. So I'm not going to show you the foxes because they all look alike. They're different colors, but they're all they're all the same. But I now have 5 of them, so getting there. I have been following and downloading patterns for several quilt-alongs, and some of them are, like there's one through the National Quilting Circle. That's the same organization that I'm not finished this one on, but they've got a new quilt along that's paper piecing. It is 6 weeks. Seems easy peasy, but every week I download the pattern and I just don't make it, and it's 1 block a week, so, or sometimes 2 blocks a week, so I'm not too concerned about getting behind on that. But we're now on week 4, I think, or I think this is going to be week 5. I think we're 4 weeks into 6 weeks. And so this week I finally did make 2 blocks in that, which covers, I think I don't know, I think there are 5 blocks total so far, and I made 2 of them. They're 12-inch blocks, and it's a mystery, so I don't know how they're going to look, but I'll give you a shot of those. They're not the same. They look different. The first 3 or 4, I think the first 4 blocks all look the same. They're a little bit different. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll give you a shot of those 2 here. I do really like those. I like the Prussian blue. I like it with the white. I think I'm really going to like the quilt. I don't know. This is designed by Toby over at, she designed this one also, and so I assume we're going, I think the instructions said that we're going to put these 2 on point. Not just these 2, but several of them in the middle on point. I am sure we're starting in the middle, like Toby likes to do. And so anyway, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I do really, really like it. So those are the 2 foxes times 2 plus those 2 blocks. Those are the 6 blocks I made this week. There are a couple other quilt-alongs that I've been following, and they're on my list. And of course, every week I'm downloading the patterns, or Star Trek. Every 2 weeks I'm downloading the patterns, and wondering when I'm going to have time to start them. And I did start 1 more, and then I did make a decision in Star Trek. I have decided that as much as I love that quilt, and as much fun as those quilters are having over there, I am still following and enjoying every minute of it, but I don't see me starting that quilt this year unless I just really run out of things to do. And since I've got over 30 things on my list for the year, and those only include 10 of my UFOs, I don't see me starting that quilt this year. And actually taking that off of my list was a good decision. It took that pressure of when I'm going to start this off of me, and that feels good. I did start one that I am following. I had bought the pattern, bought the fabric and everything, but hadn't started it. It's a, I think it's a 6-week one too, through the it's American. It's from allpeoplequilt.com, which is APC, which is their magazine is American Patchwork Quilters. So American Patchwork Quilters, I'm in two of their Facebook groups. One is their UFO, which I finished my January. I'm almost finished my February. It's to finish a UFO every month of the year. And the second group I'm in is the APQ Patchwork Quilt Along. And so I did buy the magazine with fabric, with the pattern. I bought the fabric, and I think it's a 6-week quilt along. However, it is over, it's like 6,000 or 7,000 pieces, and by that I mean, that can't be right. It's like 1,500 pieces, and by pieces I mean the pieces are an inch. I don't know if you see it. The pieces are an inch wide and either 2 or 4 inches long. And it's scrappy, except I keep saying I don't do scrappy, and this is the year I'm doing scrappy. So it works off of fat quarters. So I bought, you get the lights and the darks, and it's a beautiful quilt. But I just don't know what I was thinking, because seriously, to put together 1,500 tiny little pieces is quite a different thing for me. But I'm doing it, and I have a block almost finished. It doesn't look like anything yet, so it's not worth showing you. But by next week I will. I think this is going to, because it's just miles and miles of sewing these 1.5-inch strips together, and miles and miles of then cutting them and sewing them together. It's just tons of work. And so I think this is going to become my in-between project, my spacer project, whatever you want to call it, when you're putting things through to between your other things that you have to focus on, because these are ones you can do without thinking about them. And so I think now that I have one block figured out and I have the whole thing, and I didn't sit down and spend 3 days like some of these people cutting all those strips. I'm cutting as I go. And anyway, I think this is going to just become my spacer project, and I think it's going to just come together for me if I do that and just progress over time and be okay. Like I said, it is a beautiful quilt. It was a little too brown for me, and so instead of lights and darks in the light browns and light browns and dark browns, I'm doing my lights, as you saw, it's whites and creams basically. And these are not fabrics I would have picked out. I bought fat quarter bundles, and so I bought a white one and a cream one. And then for the darks, instead of going really browns, I'm going red and blue. And so I have a red and a blue fat quarter bundle, and so it's going to be lights and red blues. It's got a beautiful border on it. I think for the only solid border on there instead of brown, I think I'm going to go with, well, I'm going to go with the red or a blue. It's a question of which. And so anyway, the whole thing is just, it's going to get done. It's going to be, I think, very, very nice, but I don't think it's going to be like me at all, and I don't think it's going to have a lot of me in it, because I didn't pick out the individual fabrics, and I didn't, I'm not that into it. I think it's worth my time. I think it's going to be very nice. I think I'm really going to like it. But it's not something that I'm truly excited about. And so I did do that. And then I just when you think you're safe from the quilt-alongs, because they all start like in the they seem to start between October and January, I think, and I got a whole way too many of them on my list, and I'm doing them. Just by when you think you're safe from those, I discovered a new one, which I wish I hadn't, except it's worth mentioning because it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it is the National Quilt Museum. And if you would like to see some beautiful inspiration, they have a quilt-along that is just ending. March was just released, and that is their 12th of 12 months. And that's the good news. You can go to the National Quilt Museum Facebook page or their website, I imagine. And what I like about this is it's not, here's a pattern, make the block, and then, we're going to put them all together, which I do enjoy. This is a challenge every month to learn something, learn some history, some culture. So they'll say, I really encourage you to go on their Facebook page and just open each of the patterns for the last 12 months and see what they're up to, because it's a different technique each month. And so they'll show you pictures of their gallery, which would be a room or two at the National Quilting Museum dedicated to this, whatever they're doing. And I'm sure if that the pictures on their pattern are enough for you, you could go to their website and see more. But it's a different technique, often from a different country, different cultures. There's a story behind it, and so they show you a glimpse of that story and what their exhibit is about. And then instead of saying, here's a block from a designer who did something similar, it's more of a, here's what our designer did, but let's see what you can do. And some of them are not even real patterns. They're more instructions on how you should follow this method or something. And I find that I love education anyway, and so I think that it's a learning experience and broadening our horizons and learning new techniques, which then we can bring home to incorporate in what we do in our day-to-day quilting. But it's a different outlook, and I enjoyed looking back through the last 12 months of what they're doing through March. The bad news is that they start their next challenge April 1 and are going to do 12 more months of this, which I don't even know how many years they've been doing it because I just learned about it. But I am going to probably jump into that April 1, so I probably have another 12-month challenge, which I'm okay with that. So, really, the more the merrier. I put things on my list, I take things off my list, and we're getting there. So anyway, that is what I've been up to. The other progress, which I can hopefully show you next week, has taken most of my time. Molly and I are working on a quilt top that I made over 10 years ago. It's a king-size quilt. I think I've told you about this many times. You're probably sick of hearing about it, and we'll say get over with it. It's Molly's now got it, and we're working on getting that quilted, and it's going to take a long, long time. I thought it was 112 inches square. I put it on the machine, and I think it's measuring out at 108 inches square. Close enough. So I actually am adapting the pattern after the first row across because I thought I was going to make this pattern much smaller, And as I started stitching it out, I realized it was going to take like a day to get across it once, and then I was going to have to go across it 22 times. And so I'm going to put 2 rows of the smaller one, and I'll do the same thing on the bottom, and then in the middle I'm going to enlarge it and get across those a little bit faster. It's a simple edge-to-edge pattern, but it's just going to take forever. And so I don't really have a month. I do have a month. I'm not willing to spend a month to get this done. And so we're going to be adjusting that today, and that is taking quite a bit of time. So hopefully you'll get to see that next week. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. Not a big deal. And oh, happy Mardi Gras, and Abby, happy birthday. Have a great week.